All right, let's start. Good morning and good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining this session. This is Rise and Grind for NENA Cray, our February edition. And today the topic is AI academia meets industry. We have two very exciting guest speakers today. Let me introduce them briefly first. First, we have Dr. Faye Hao from the Hong Kong Polytechnic University all the way from Hong Kong. So it's quite late over there. Thank you so much for doing this for us. Um, Dr. Howe's research expertise focus on exploring technology innovations, AI, robotic service, metaverse, AR, VR, you can name it. She also does research on entrepreneurship in hospitality and tourism as well. And our second guest speaker today, Dr. Markus Schuckert, professor from University of New Hampshire, bringing a very international level of industry experience. Dr. Schuckert's research focuses on digital marketing, travel technology, and strategic management, hospitality, and tourism. So for today's format, we would like to start with a brief presentation for each of them, and then we'll move into a moderated discussion, focus on a few questions. What I would like the audience to do is really, as you're listening, think along, ask questions along in the chat. I'm not quite sure the format from Dr. Howe, Dr. Schuckers, if you want audience to ask questions during the presentation or after, but please feel free for anybody to type in the chat and I will monitor and will facilitate discussion that way. And then we'll end this session for about 10 minutes or so of a Q&A session. Sounds good? All right, great. Dr. Howe, would you like to start your presentation first? And take it away, please. Yeah, we can see your presentation. I think you're still
muted. I was muted, sorry. So now everybody can see my screen, right? Great, thank you. So hello everyone, whether it's morning or evening for you, thank you so much for your participation for this very exciting seminar, and thank you first for your kind introduction. It's my great honor to share one of my favorite topic, which is AI in hospitality. And in my sharing session, I may guide all of you to explore some of the basic concepts of AI, such as what is it and a brief history of AI and a few examples. Because still it's very early stage for our industry, I just will share a few examples of how it can be used in our industry. So when we talk about the AI, there are a few concepts that we often discuss together, such like AI itself, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, generative AI, and large language models, among others. So what exactly are those concepts and what is the relationship between them? As shown in this graph, we can see actually AI is the broadest concept that include all of the other smaller concepts. So what is outside of AI? What is non-AI? That is actually the natural intelligence. So we know there are two types of intelligence exist on our planet. One is the natural intelligence, which means the intelligence derived from biological processes that primarily found in human, and some people think in animals. I believe so. Whereas artificial intelligence refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines, learn to think, designed to think, reason, and learn from experience, which is a given data. And machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence that enables the system to learn and improve from experience without being explicitly programmed. So actually before the machine learning was invented, it's always programmers tell the computer exactly what you need to do step by step, word by word, and the computer always follow. So no matter how smart they were just machines. But with machine learning, the machine gains the superpower to learn by itself. And there are mainly three types of machine learnings. The first type is supervised learning, so which means learning with labeled data. Usually, for example, when we use Google, once in a while, it will ask us to identify out of 9 pictures, which ones shows a traffic light, which shows a car. This is precise, actually, human input is used to label the data. And we were basically used as a free labor to help with this. And our contribution will eventually contribute to the development of auto-driving cars. And this advantage of supervised learning is that with human laboring, we generally don't need a very large amount of data to train the model. However, the disadvantage is also obvious. It's very costly to hire the crowdsourcing laborers to label the data. And the second type is unsupervised learning. This means the model is trained on unlabeled data. The benefit of this approach, it saves the labor cost for data labeling, but the drawback is also obvious. To achieve a higher level of accuracy, we need a large volume of data and significant computing power as well. That's why NVIDIA becomes so popular nowadays. The third one is reinforced learning. In this case, the model takes actions in an environment and receives state update and feedbacks in the form either as rewards or penalties, which helps it continuously to improve the parameters. Much like when we're using ChatGPT, after it gives the answer, it always offers 2 feedback choices, either a thumbs up, which is a positive feedback, or thumbs down, which indicates dissatisfaction. And machine learning, a smaller concept, is a specific type of machine learning inspired by human brain neurons. So in human brain, we can see the resembles in the picture on our left hand. So the dendrites collect data, the cell body integrates data, the axon process the data for input will synapse. Maybe when millions and even billions of cells connected with each other, we can process very complex info. And in deep learning, the input layer, like the dendrites, gather information from various sources. Sometimes we use the multimodal. You can gather voice, text, image, audio, video at the same time. And the hidden layers, similar to the cell bodies, stores and combines integrates data, which is processed with activation functions for the output. And for very complex tasks, there can be millions, billions, or even trillions of interconnected parameters, showing the resemblance between our human brain and the deep learning neural network. Generative AI, sometimes we call it Gen AI or GAI, is a type of artificial intelligence focused on generating new content in various forms, such as text, image, audio, or video, and that's why we call it generative. It mimics human-generated content. Initially, it was just designed for pretty much like a simple machine guess what is the next word game. However, as it's trained on more and more data, it began to develop unexpected capabilities and play different roles in human life. And within the bigger scope of generative AI, large language model is one specific of generative AI that trained on extensive text data set. That's why it is called large, because it's extensive data set. And for text, it means it focuses mainly on the language per se. And it is designed to understand and generate human-like language, enabling it to perform tasks like conversation, translation, and content creation. And large language model may have billions or even trillions of parameters. That's why they are called large. But how are those parameters determined? it is almost impossible to set them through manually programming. Instead, the parameters occur through a process named training. So how can we understand the training for machines? It's more like training for the babies, our human babies. When you think about how you learn how to speak when you're a baby, we wasn't explicitly taught how to speak. There was no instructions given or dictionaries provided. Instead, the baby listens to people talking around her, and maybe she starts to repeat some language taught by the parents. And as she hear more and more, she starts to recognize some patterns in the language. Initially, she alters a few words like mama or papa, which delight her parents. But over time, she progressed to forming full sentences and eventually developed into a fully mature and intelligent human being, just like you and me. So I hope by now everybody has a much clearer understanding of those quite confusing concepts. So here's the summary. Artificial intelligence refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines, which are designed to think, reason, and learn from experience. AI is the broadest concept among them all. And then it's machine learning, which is a subset of AI, which enables the system to learn and improve performance without being explicitly programmed. Machine learning, in turn, is a subset of machine learning, the deep learning, which is inspired by the structure of human brain's neural network. Generative AI is a type of AI that focuses on creating new contents. Some call it original content, but it's always debatable, such as a text, image, videos, or audios, which resembles content made by humans. A large language model is a specific type of AI within the realm of generative AI, which is trained on extensive text dataset to understand and generate human-like language. And this figure illustrates a brief history of AI from the 1940s till now. From the 1940s to the 1950s, this period lays the early foundation for the AI in the following decades. And the most significant event was in the 1956, the Dartmouth Conference coined the concept of artificial intelligence, although it's just a concept back then. And from the 1960s to the 70s, it was the initial growth period. People had very high expectations during this time, and many science-related movies as well as the science fiction novels were produced during this period of time. Unfortunately, maybe because people's expectations were too high, in the 1980s, there were a very long AI winter. There was a dramatic decline in the research fundings and enthusiasm because of unmet expectations. But luckily, there were those who never gave it up. In the 1990s, there was a period of slow revival and breaking throughs. Until the 2010s, there was a large-scale deep learning revolution during which AI began to experience rapid growth. And one of the most well-known events was the emergence of the AlphaGo. In 2016, AlphaGo defeated the very famous Go player Lacy Dow. And in the 2020s, as we know, it's a magical era for AI, during which the generative AI has finally introduced and changed our whole world very significantly. In the past 3 years, hundreds of different AI models were emerged. They generally varies in 9 aspects. Speed, some AI are faster, giving very quick feedbacks, whereas there are AIs give focus on more in-depth data analysis, and that takes a bit longer time. Second, capability. There are high-end AI handle very complex tasks, where others are quite limited. Cost, some are fully free, ideal for small projects and startups, and others are perhaps quite costly. Well, one-time payment subscriptions like ChatGPT for normal use, or count by API tokens if you want to connect it with a third-party software. Some are open source, like the very famous one nowadays, the DeepSeek from China, lets developers modify codes, while others, like ChatGPT, keep all the code private. Specialization, some models are specialized for specific tasks such as medical diagnosis, finance, or tourism. And there are also general models can do a little bit of everything, but not as good in one specific area. Some can be downloaded, while some can only must be run online. Different level of ease of use. Some AI tools are very user-friendly using natural language, where others may need a little bit programming or domain knowledge. Integration. Some AI models can be integrated with a third-party softwares, make it more convenient for users, so we don't need to switch between different apps. And Copilot functionality allows users to work alongside with the AI for different functions, like suggesting codes or helping us to write emails and so on. And here's a summary of some of the most widely used AI models. Of course, it changes every day. For large language models from the US, there's ChatGPT by OpenAI, Gemini by Google, and the Cloud by Anthropic, which is known for its safety feature. And Meta's Llama is also notable. In China, Alibaba's 通义千问, Baidu's Ernie, and ByteDance, Doubao also famous large language models. And also for vision models, the DALL-E, owned by OpenAI, allows users to generate images. For example, if you ask ChatGPT to create an image for you, actually it's DALL-E works behind the scenes for you. And Runway's Gen 2 is quite powerful for creating videos. Stable Diffusion, developed by NVIDIA, is also known in image generation. And for multi-model models like Clip by OpenAI or Flamingo by DeepMind, which is from UK, are good examples for multi-model models. And for reinforced learning, AlphaGo, the Go player, developed by DeepMind from UK, made a big splash in the world of the reinforcement learning. And recently, DeepSeek development by Flyer in China has gained significant popularity. In fact, when I started work on this presentation in early January, few people had heard of it, but now just within about 1 month, it became extremely popular. And also speech recognition and the synthesis models like the Whisper by OpenAI is the autonomic speech recognition model. And another way around, it's the WaveNet by DeepMind used for natural sound speech synthesis. If you are interested in delving deeper and obtaining more comprehensive understanding of AI, I would highly recommend reading this about 80 pages survey paper on agent AI. It's authored by the renowned Stanford professor Li Feifei and her teams. And in our field, there are also examples of usage of AI. For example, in Hilton, the Corning, the robot concierge, which is introduced in 2016, it is an embedded AI agent where the robot is developed by SoftBank. The model is now NAO. And the software is empowered by IBM. And it can provide guest information about local attractions, dining options, hotel amenities, and learning from each conversation to improve. And in Four Seasons hotels, they are also developing one Four Seasons chat, which is one AI-driven services that allow guests to communicate in real time through message. And in dining and food services, like Wendy, which is a fast food brand with over 3.5 billion monthly loyalty program users. They want to use AI in their loyalty program and to suggest healthier and more personalized food recommendations according to the past consumption history. And also, Starbucks is working towards digital menu boards that is tailored for that aims to tailor different menus for different customers. And maybe the biggest meaning for AI is use technology to enhance, to contribute to the humanity. And AI can also contribute to areas such like sustainability and accessibility. So here's Be My Eyes is a free mobile app that connected people with visual impair with volunteers. And now Hilton is working with Be My Eyes to develop some use AI to improve its functionality within the travel experience. Um, it's quite sad that it's common to notice technology adoption in the hospitality industry lags behind that of the healthcare and the finance sector by at least 10 years. And I also curious, I ask hotel managers, why are you so reluctant to embrace some of the new technologies? And the one answer they often claim is that our data is highly sensitive. However, the data in other service industries, such as healthcare and finance, can be even more sensitive than us. And that we also have some more advanced technology, such as federated learning, to protect the privacy of the data. So this shouldn't halt our efforts. Instead, we should strive to improve. In my view, the real magic happens when we combine human capabilities with AI. And this is my part of sharing. Thank you very much. And if you have more questions, you can always connect with me through my LinkedIn. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. House. Amazing presentation. And I really like how you clarified that various terms that people often get confused. And you give an overview of the history of AI development, and also like how you compare different AI models. As you were talking, I was thinking about comparing DeepSeek, ChatGPT and everything. And also just overview of examples we have seen over the years. And it's amazing how it has been developed, right? Especially using that Hilton's example, Be My Eyes, that really align with that brand and then, work on the corporate CSR concept. That's really amazing to see. Now let's turn to Dr. Schuckert. Ready for your presentation. Please take it away.
Fantastic, thank you. Great presentation, Faye, and it's always a pleasure to have you here. So let me share just my screen, and I make it sweet and short because I think a few things were already taken away by our colleague Faye Ho, and we basically I want to bring it to a different level because I want to take it from there and put a little bit more spotlight on what does it mean for hospitality and service. And Faye did already a great job in pointing this out with a few of the examples. And uh, my background is basically from IT and especially in a field where IT is a very important factor or was a very important factor and still a very important factor from aviation. And if you look into into this picture, how bookings were managed in the 1960s, like with this manual checkerboard where all the flights were there, the seats, everything was manual. You call in into a call center, and then later, based in the US, American Airlines started to have their own worldwide computer reservation system, and basically the computer did things, but you still need to call in. And nowadays we do this all on our smartphone. So maybe for some of you, you only know the smartphone, but I still know the time when I went into an airline office and they wrote a ticket manually. I paid cash, and then I had my ticket, and the airline had the money. So the times really changed, and I think this is what we are facing with AI in a different level. And Faye, I like your example with the hoteliers when you ask the hoteliers saying, "How about you guys? Why are you reluctant to get into it?" So let me see here. So just want to show you, I mean, technology, let's say all the technology or everything we used was basically to enhance our efficiency and productivity. And this has been always the same. We don't need to go back to the first steam engine, but if you look into the first computer, or then the microchips and the internet and then the smartphone, so technology made things really faster, cheaper, efficient, accessible for more people. And AI will play here a very big role. So the question is now, and here it comes, but we are talking about service. So usually the service definition is the definition between a human provider and a human customer. And now this paradigm of service is shifting again because of automation. And the question is now, how much will AI shift that? And this is why not only because of the data, but this is why hotel companies are a little bit reluctant to go on. So because what you can see here, I put this chart together for you. So basically, we have, and this will now shift, right? At the one day we started automation in the upper right corner, where simple tasks and simple products were basically able to be delivered by robots or by chatbots or whatever. So you know this when you call a hotline and you get the hotline on, and the hotline asks you a few questions, and then they try to help you. So now it's getting already more sophisticated. But if you go to the lower left corner, these are all those occurrences in service which do not happen a lot, are very complex in handling, and maybe also high in value. And the question is now, how much of those things you want to hand over to a robot, or you want to make yourself. And this is now the crunch actually the hotel companies are in. Because if you, and Faye, I love your example from Four Seasons. So Four Seasons is basically a, let's say, high-end hotel company, and they put a lot of hospitality, put a lot into their product. So the question is, if you pay high-end as a customer, how much do you expect that your service is provided by humans and really individual for you, or how much is basically done by any kind of artificial intelligence? This can be in, let's say, back office, or this can be front of the house with a robot. How much are you willing to take? And this is, for instance, one of those questions hotel companies and every service provider they have to talk about that. I had a loop in my career when I was working for a bank, and at that time I did research on the banks wanted to take the counter away and the retail banking offices and put in ATMs. And so our studies supported that customers would like to have the technology and it's faster and so on. However, a bank stopped doing that and came back to the counter and to the human interaction, because they recognized that for certain businesses it's okay to do that, but for a variety of businesses the computers, for a long time, the computers and the machinery was not able to help. And the customers, on the other hand, demanded still to see someone if you have a high value service. So, and this is one of the biggest questions we have to really think about. And when you look into this box here, which shouldn't be a box, but it is like a combination of matrices actually. So you need to think about what is the level of automation, how much how much is what is your business model? Is it low cost? Is it luxury? And then how complex is your product? Is the frequency high? Is the frequency low? And when is the demand happening? And then this is Faye, I love this in one of your slides. And then is the question of how much human factor do we have to in there? So handling of emotions, empathy. So I give you another example. From my accent, you can tell I'm from Germany. So basically, when I go back to my hometown and I go with my son into a supermarket to the sausage counter, my son always gets a sample. So there is a person behind the counter and gives my son a little bit sample to eat. So the question is now, this is very human, right? So and this is custom in my county or in my city, if you like. So if you go with a young kid to the butcher, they will give you a sample for the kid. Um, so the question is now, how can this handling of emotion or empathy build into the machine? How does the machine learn? Okay, we are doing this, or we are not. So these are all those questions which are still remaining. So this human factor would we accept this from AI if we replace the service person behind the counter with a robot? A robot could do that, but at the moment we need to program or have certain scripts that the robot identify, okay, there is an adult with a minor. The minor maybe is hungry or want to have something to chew. And so the robot just picks the usual sample and hands it over to the minor, to the kid. So this is one of those things where which are then the important part in the hospitality industry. And I see we have also an international audience. And if you think about what hospitality means in certain cultures, so for instance, Middle East, hospitality was always a human to human, let's say, gesture. So the introduction of AI basically will shift this paradigm, and this is what I prepared here for you. And this is the first time I basically show this public because it's in print, but it's coming out relatively soon. So these are the sum of the theories we have in service management: the gap model, moment of truth, servicescape, value co-creation. But AI will shift this moment. AI will contest those models in a way that we really need to think about, okay, how does AI impact the servicescape? So basically, the environment where service happens. Is it still service if we are just chatting with a chatbot online somewhere on the street to get our things done, or is this just a transaction? Or how will it redefine service and hospitality if we have a human setting, right? Then value co-creation. Value co-creation will be big impacted by the introduction of artificial intelligence, because the paradigm of co-creation with the customer, where the customer does actually the job of the host, will go further into the territory of the host. So the host pulls back, lets the customer do much more. And we know all this from airlining. When we go to the airport nowadays, we have to print our label, we have to print our boarding pass, we do our seat assigning ourselves, we carry the bag to the belt, and there's the last moment where someone checks that this is my bag, and then the bag goes away. So it has changed dramatically. So you can go on through all those theories and see where they are impacted by that. Yeah, so basically, where is AI in terms of a service? And this is where I'm now finishing then my presentation. I think it's time for questions and conversation. So basically, when I'm talking with the industry, they're the first warning they say for future students or for us as educators, they say, hey, train your students regarding the use of technology, because these wide array of analytics jobs will go away. So basically, for revenue management, there will be less and less jobs where you do just basic analytics. This can be done already by the machine. However, you still need to understand what the machine is presenting to you and what decisions is the machine is doing, and you probably need to okay them as a manager at one point. So you still need to understand the business. And then we go into all the service and the routine tasks of making bookings or troubleshooting. However, if trouble or if problems become more let's say more dedicated and more detailed, then it will swap over to a human or still probably to a human handling. So basically, you need to have more and more skills and more all-round skills in the business to handle the leftover troubleshooting from robots and machines. Another experience I had, I went into one of those famous hotels where everything is electronically working, but I couldn't check in. The computer didn't accept my credit card. I couldn't get my room. It was late in the night. So at the end, I still needed to call someone, a human person at that point, to really help me with this process because I got stuck in the lobby of the hotel. So these are those parts. And so the questions here are basically, on the other hand, where is the opportunity for hospitality companies is, or where they can see something is basically all those parts. Where is it from the brand perspective good to have AI, and where is luxury? Or where is the human touch now? Basically the part which gains competitive advantage. You will see basically that where you still need the human touch, it will probably take a while until the machine also can show empathy and can show the right empathy. It's developing and developing very fast. However, when you really want to see some empathy, how much are you willing to take a robot rather than a human being? And we know that. Think about whenever you witnessed a service encounter which went wrong, and the customer is yelling at the service person that they want to speak to their supervisor or the supervisor. So the supervisor. So this will happen in this will continue because people want to not talk with a robot. They want to see a human person. They want to feel being understood. So there are a lot of things in the gray at the moment. So talking about the situation with the service chain, we will see more changes towards luxury, personal touch, sorry, and efficiency. And from that, I give it over to the right arm to Forrest. Thank you.
Thank you, Markus. Thank you so much. That's a great sharing. Especially thank you for showing a little bit preview of the different service theories and how they, under the lens of AI, how we re-examine that. And both content sharing is a great gateway into our next discussion sessions. I have a few questions, and now it's also I'm asking the audience to type in the chat for any questions you have, any thoughts you want to share, and I want everybody to feel engaged over here. And let's start with something that Faye already mentioned earlier, that the industry is concerned about the sensitivity of the data, the privacy of it. But also you share the observation when you think about finance, healthcare, there's even higher level, deeper level of privacy and confidentiality when it comes to data, right? So what are the most concerning developments right now when it comes to AI in our industry? And also, what are some more exciting development we're seeing in the industry?
Thank you. Actually, I really want to share a few slides I prepared for
Please.
very interesting news, sad news, but also let me see how to. Sorry, just 1 second.
No, you're good.
Can everybody see my screen now?
Yes.
Great. So, we know that our humans are biased, and sometimes AI can be even worse. When we talk about privacy, actually, that is easier to solve because I've been working with one unicorn company, which is called WeBank in China, which is a world top 10 unicorn company, and we are developing one AI chatbot for hotel icon. And the way to protect privacy is called federated learning, which means we collect all the data in the local server, analyze in the local data server on the edge. And after we get the patterns, the parameters, we only upload the parameters to the cloud. So that means we only get the patterns from the data and without sharing the demographic info and so on. But what really put into a significant challenge is the biases and inclusivity issues caused by AI. So, for example, a couple of years ago, Amazon developed one online recruitment tool for HRs to help them to choosing suitable candidates to go for interview. But however, it was later discovered that the tool had a systematic bias, favoring male candidates over than the female ones. Even they have the same credentials and same everything. This made this AI tool very sexist, ultimately leading Amazon to discontinue its usage. And another major controversy occurred in the States is the US healthcare system. The US government utilized an AI algorithm for 200 million patents, and this AI tool was meant to prioritize the urgency of healthcare. But upon further examination, it was found that the algorithm showed a preference for the white people in healthcare prioritizing. So even with the same medical conditions, the tool always marked the white patients as needing more urgent healthcare compared to other ethnic minorities. And what's worse, in 2015, Google's photo image recognition algorithm made very highly offensive error of mislabeling photo of Black individuals as gorillas. It was not only showing the lack of proper representation and understanding of in the algorithm's training, but also the potential for AI-based system to reinforce these very harmful stereotypes. Because with generative AI, before maybe technology is just passive, it's like a tool, we use AI, but now AI is increasingly play an active role. It is creating content for the kids to the next generations to learn. So as a response, Google decided to remove the ability to tag images with terms such as monkey, gorilla, chimpanzee, but I don't really think it's the best solution there. And let's look at Bloomberg's research. Humans are biased, and Gen AI can be even more biased. Stable diffusion, which I introduced a little bit earlier, is a well-known text-to-image AI model. And Bloomberg used it to find out something really interesting. So Bloomberg asked Stable Diffusion to describe a few certain jobs and ask the AI to create the human profile photos to different jobs. And let's look at the result. So Bloomberg took all the photos Stable Diffusion generated and they grouped skin colors into 6 levels, from the lightest ones, the level 1, to the darkest ones, the level 6. And they matched the skin color levels with different jobs. So in the first row, there are highly paying jobs like architect, lawyer, CEO, politician, judge, engineer, and doctor. Notice that most of the people in this higher paid category, as shown in this picture, have lighter skin tones. And in the second role, it's much lower paid jobs such as teacher, very sad for us, and housekeeper, cashier, dishwasher, fast food worker, and the social workers. So here, most of the people in the jobs, and as we can see very obviously, the color of the skin is much darker. And this shows a concerning bias in the AI-generated images. And let's examine the aspect of gender in relation to those generated images. So here, the darker green color means it's it's male individuals, it's men. And the lighter green means it's female, and maybe the green ones means the LGBTQ. And look at the first row, which depicts the higher paid occupations. You can observe that a large proportion of the images of the darker green color indicating male dominance in these highly paid occupancies. And in the second row, which shows the lower paying occupations, perhaps just with exception of the janitor and the dishwasher, most images are of female individuals. And this shows a very clear bias in how AI is associating gender with different levels of income job related images. What Bloomberg did was really interesting. They combined hundreds of photos that Stable Diffusion made for each specific job. And for the highly paying jobs, we can see that most of the image follow a very strong stereotype, with generally white men being dominant. Although for some jobs like doctor and engineer, it seems a little bit more variety in terms of race and skin color. But when it comes to low-paying jobs, aside from the janitor and dishwasher, most of the images featured women with ethnic minorities. And this shows how AI-generated images seems to have some unfair patterns related to gender and race. When I share this with some of my students, they may say, okay, AI is very innocent. They're just learning from human data, and the human data is biased. But for me, because I have a son, so I feel it's like sending my son to a school where the school continuously teach my son all the racist, the sexist content. And there's no wonder my son may make some offensive comments. I know he took those information passively, at least in the very beginning, but that doesn't mean I should allow this to happen. And this may be some of the concerns we have in our industry as well. Thank you.
Markus?
Yeah, I like Faye's point, and I'm sorry, I'm still recovering from a cold, so this is the outcome. When I then speak too long, good reminder to keep short. I like what Faye is putting on, because we have a very exciting debate about AI at the moment, and I can relate this also to my college, where we are asking ourselves, or where leadership asks ourselves, okay, are we missing something out? Should we do more about AI? But I think that's a very important part, that there is bias, even there is bias, and we need to look into how not starting there from the scratch with another round of biased opinions or biased environment. So I think that's a very important finding, and very important to put this awareness up when we are training the future workforce regarding the use of AI. And Faye, what you said, let's say the medical needs between different ethnicities and white people. This already happens. So this is already very known in the non-AI world. And of course, if AI just trains from those data sets, learns from those data sets, it carries over to these models as well.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good discussion. We're talking about, because even in the previous presentation Marcus did, we're talking about um, well, AI did a job, but there are a lot of things that still need a human to supervise and then to manage, right? So now let's change to a topic and talking about we see a lot of educators here or future educators. And one question is everybody's asking, and even what Faye brought up earlier, is that AI in education? What are student learning and how we can better prepare student? Because it seems like we even need to know much more knowledge now to correct AI's mistakes, right? So if we put in our discipline, how is the way AI is developing is involving changing the way we teach and we prepare our students for their career that's in this industry or related in this industry in general? Who want to go first?
Okay, maybe I can. Because I really like Marcus earlier shared this map. We should really consider where we can use AI according to different needs of empathy, frequency, and so on. It's really inspiring. And in terms of education, I just had these reflections from my personal experience, like when I teaching my son. Uh, he's a kid that he want to learn everything very intensively. He want to learn everything just within a few days instead of very long semester. I used to feel it's kind of troublesome, but then I realized maybe people are born to be different. Maybe kids should be taught in different way. They have different learning ladders, different speed. So hope we can tailor this for education for different levels in the future. Thank you.
Yeah. Marcus?
Let me bring up the slide again. So, okay, here we go. This one, right? You mentioned this one. Yeah, so basically, I think we are already there, right? But at the beginning, we had only a very few automated tasks. But as you can see now, from the it goes from simple, so from it goes now more towards humans, or the human-based jobs where basically less and can be more done by automation. But there are coming all those other questions with us. So one is ethics. How ethical is it? I mean, we had already in the UK a long time ago, we had already the conversation and this debate. If if let's say the use of drugs for certain patients should be decided by the computer, and the computer was calculating, okay, basically was saying no, it doesn't make sense to give this expensive drug to this patient in this state. This was a big worry, and then they abandoned to employ those metrics. And again, so the ethical part is a big part. The other part is the branding part. And what is our product like? So I do not think that AI and the application of AI is front of the house for everyone. Back of the house is something different. But I think front of the house, we need to really clarify our mission. What is our understanding of hospitality? What is service to us and to the brand and to our enterprise? And probably for some of the enterprises it will work, and for some of the enterprises they will basically stay with the human touch, or you outsource it like you have for the simple task, like you order a Coca-Cola or you order a mineral water or a beer, or an orange juice. And so this order will go through a robot, and but the high-end sophisticated drink or cocktail or mocktail will basically still be served and prepared by a bartender, if you like. So I think we need to look into the service jobs, and at the end, higher end jobs will or more sophisticated jobs will probably still stay with the human being, and more those inline tasks, they can be outsourced. But again, it depends really on the philosophy and the positioning of the company. And again, here then we are strategic management to talk about, okay, how much low cost do we want to be, and can I still be Four Seasons or any other Ritz-Carlton, any other luxury brand, Mandarin Oriental, you name it, if I have a lot of service outsourced to robots. And I see Forrest, interrupt me if there is question, or everyone can interrupt us and ask questions from the audience. So please, please don't be shy.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. I think what Faye mentioned earlier, like that open-mindedness, right? Like we need to do a lot of things to happen because they are changing away. But I also like what Markus said, and also I see Paulo in the chat reflect on this too, is there's a lot of proactive measures we need to consider. There's a lot of thinking to be done or along the side, right? Because AI is not waiting for us to finish what we decide on, but we really need to decide as a brand, right, or as an educator, what we really want to do, how we define or redefine hospitality and service, right? Good. I want to leave the rest of the time to our participants today. Shiva also shared her thoughts over here. So I want to open to everybody to ask questions, share thoughts. This is definitely very inspirational and very thought-provoking session so far. So please, anybody have any questions or reflections you would like to share or ask? You can either type in the chat or directly speak up.
Let me just jump in here to Shiva. I think it's a great point to see, okay, how much personalization. So the topic of personalization is a very interesting one. To what degree people are receptive to an outsourced or machine-based personalization, or at which point the human factor plays a role. Is this a generational thing? Is this an age thing? Is this a price question? So this is completely unknown, and this is a great question. And as well, and I think Paolo, you put it in a wider context, because then this, you're talking about all those challenges, which is not necessarily only brand based, but it has also a lot of ethical and risk related questions as well. So it's all about a contingency planning here as well.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much, Markus and Faye. Thank you so much. I think this is very eye-opening, and I feel like I'm not retiring anytime soon. So, which means that in our generation as scholar, we have to figure it out as a group and learning as we go as well. So I really appreciate you guys kind of a front runner at this topic and then kind of leading us, towards that direction. I appreciate that. But like I said, there's still a lot for us to learn at the same time. So thank you.
Thank you for joining.
Yes. Do we have any other questions? Final remarks? Well, I will stop recording right now.